Hello friends, this is Dr. Antoine, your coach in data analysis using R tool. Today I'm going to show you how you can use another method for decision making, which is among other multi-criteria decision making methods, which is called the Preference Selection Index method, PSI. And this method was developed by this author, Karpesh, Mania, and Bat in 2010. The particularity of this method is that it does not need weights. As in the previous method, we have to assign weights to each criteria, and this method does not need weights, because using this method will itself calculate the weight for each criteria. And if you remember, we have just presented the weighted sum model, weighted product model, evaluation based on a distance from average solution model, meet objective optimization on the basis of simple ratio mode analysis, meet objective optimization on the basis of simple ratio analysis, technique for order preference by similarity to ideal solution, TOPSIS. Those are the methods that we have just presented till now. When you go on our YouTube channel or in multi-criteria decision making playlist, you will find all these methods. They have been explained. And now I'm going to show you how you can use another method, which can also help to improve the way you make a decision in your organization, whether it is a political organization, it is a company, or whether it is in profit or non-profit organization. And this method can be used, and you can adapt this method when you have many criteria and many alternatives that you have to make a choice. And now let's show you. I'm working on the same data set. We have the problem of car selection, and I'm going to use this method, preference selection index, so as to make choice of the car that you can buy based on these criteria based on these criteria. That means our matrix, that suppose that we have just analyzed the proposal, and we are now at the stage of making a decision based on the result of the analysis, and we have to decide which car it can be bought. And now this is our matrix that we have been used in the 5 previous methods. Now, what we need to do first is to normalize our matrix, because our data do not have same measure. And I have told you that when the data do not have same measure, you need to make a data matrix normalization or data normalization so as to have data on the same measure. And for instance, this is in euro, this is price in euro, and this is in consumption, this is in days, and you see now these measures are not the same. Now, how to make normalization depends on whether the criteria is beneficial or non-beneficial criteria. Remember, I have just explained what means beneficial criteria. The beneficial criteria is that criteria that we need the maximum value, or larger the better. And non-beneficial criteria is that criteria that we need the minimum value, or smaller the better. Now, these are the formula that we will use to make a normalization of our matrix. And if it is for beneficial criteria, we will take each value divided by the maximum value. And when it is for non-beneficial attribute, we will consider the minimum value divided by each value. Now, let's friends determine minimum and the maximum value, because these values will help us to make our matrix, normalization of our matrix. Now, I just need to copy these values, and then I will choose maximum value for beneficial criteria and a minimum value for non-beneficial criteria. Now I copy the same decision matrix here, and I need to select the maximum value, because these criteria are beneficial. If you look at our previous video, I have just explained all these criteria. Now I need to find here for beneficial criteria, I need to find maximum value. This is a function in Excel, max. And I have to just select these values, and just I need to copy this formula on beneficial criteria only. For non-beneficial criteria, I need to find the minimum value like this. It is also in a function in Excel, and I have to press enter. Now I have to copy this formula to all non-beneficial criteria. Now the next step is to normalize our decision matrix using these values. Now what I need to do is to consider the formula is to take this value divided by the maximum. This value divided by this value, maximum value. I have to fix the value, and now I can make a copy of this. This is the same formula for beneficial criteria, and for non-beneficial criteria, I could take the minimum value divided by each value. Now this one, which will be, sorry, put a parenthesis, which will be fixed, divided by each value of non-beneficial criteria, this one. And now, sorry, I forgot to put parentheses. Like this. Now I can copy the formula like this. So, like this. I copy this formula. Now I can copy this formula like this. Okay, now what I need to do again is to find the minimum of this value, normalized matrix. Now it is the function in Excel called moyenne. When you use English computer, it will be mean. Now I have to copy this same formula in all criteria. Now the next step is to calculate the preference variation value, which will be calculated by taking each value in this decision matrix minus mean raised to the power of 2. This one. Now I do this. I take this value. So I balance this minus the mean value raised to the power of 2. This value, which will be fixed like this, and I raise to the power of 2 like this. So, like this. Press enter, and now I can copy. So this is preference variation value, and I copy this formula like this, and I drag the formula down like this. Now I finished to find preference variation value. And what is next is to make summation of this value equal sum like this, and I will do this, then copy the formula in all rows. This is preference variation value for each criteria, this formula. I finish this. The next step is to calculate estimation of overall preference, and I will take the 1 minus preference variation equal 1 minus 1 minus this value, and I copy this formula all. Now what is next? The next is to calculate the weight for each criteria. Remember, in the previous method, the weights were given. But in this method, as I told you, the particularity is that the weights will be calculated based on theta. Now I'm going to, this is the formula. I take each value here divided by the sum of these theta. Equal, parentheses, no, not necessary. This value divided by the sum of these theta, like this. I cross, but this matrix must be fixed so as to remain in the same row and the same column. Not I cross this parenthesis. Now I can copy this formula, and these are the weights. Remember, in the previous method, weights were given. Let me see if I can find. No, let's see if I can find any file, which is, for instance, this in TOPSIS. I will just want to show you the weights, how weights were given. Now remember, for instance, when you look on a TOPSIS method or all methods, the weights were given like this. These are the weights which were given with the decision matrix. Now, as you see, the weights are calculated in this method. The weights are not given but are calculated. And now, as I have calculated the weights, I can just calculate our preference selection index. Now, how to calculate this? This is the summation of these weights multiplied by the normalized matrix. This one. I take weight for this the first criterion quality multiplied by this one, plus this value multiplied by the weights, plus this value multiplied by the weight, plus this value multiplied by the weight, plus this value multiplied by the weight, and then plus this value multiplied by the weight. But I can just make another table, but when you use a function in Excel, sum plot, I just calculate immediately the value. Now let's show you. I use this formula, equal sum plot. This is a function in Excel of these values, these weights, but this must be fixed like this. You can press F4, this like this, and then I will consider our normalized matrix. This one, normalized matrix, and I make selection of the first curve values, and then I press enter. Now I can just drag the formula down. Those are our preference section index. Now what is next is to find, for instance, when I'm here, I can just show the highest value, this one. I need one value here, and now I can make ranking or classification. Now I want to rank this value. I need to go to show the matrix where our value. Now I just need to fix this matrix, like this, and I close the parentheses like this. Then I need to drag this formula down, and we have here. I also need to show the smallest value in these values. This value, but I need only one value. I just also change the color like this. Okay, now friends, now as you can see, the car 5 can be both because it has the highest preference selection index. And if you have to make classification, the next car, for instance, will be this one, car 3. But when we need one car, we will buy car 5. Now, friends, when you remember the result from previous methods, from this method I have already presented, all these methods have presented car 5 so as the best car to be bought. Now, using 6 methods, weighted sum model, weighted product model, evaluation based on distance from average solution, objective optimization on the basis of a simple ratio analysis, technique for order preference by similarity to ideal solution, you see, and the preference selection index method, you see we have the same conclusion that the car 5 can be bought. Now, friends, as you can see, we continue to show you some method that can help you to improve the way you make this decision. And this method can be used by politicians, managers, and everybody who has issue of choosing a best alternative among many alternatives using many criteria. And friends, this is the end of my presentation. If you like this video, you can share it, and you can subscribe to my channel so as not to miss any of my video. And thank you for watching this video. Bye.